The dude is suckling the teat of Candace Owens to get followers and attention because we're in a peer. So Candace is doing it because it's a low IQ grift. Now I'm going to say this to Clint because Clint, I believe, I believe Clint has become very evil.
Tim, you besmirch my good name? How dare you? Oh man, Tim just launched into me for 20, I think it was 25 minutes straight on Timcast tonight. 25 minutes. What have I done? Well, I can tell you what I did. I challenged Ben Shapiro's retelling of the events in the aftermath of Charlie Kirk's killing. That's my grave crime, my sin. Now, you may think this is a petty point that is being made. I assure you it is not. It is a very precise, very nuanced point that I am making, but it is a very valid issue and one that deserves unpacking. So here is how it all began.
Apparently he was still alive at the time. Again, I know that only because my security was talking to his security in the car.
His security was talking to Charlie Kirk's security in the car, in the SUV that was rapidly taking him to the hospital. It's very important you understand the details of the aftermath of the attack in Utah, starting with the fact that the hospital is less than 4 miles from UVU. It is only it's less than a 4-mile drive to get Charlie Kirk from where he was attacked to the hospital. It's also important to note that it took less than a minute to get him after he was hit by the projectile, be it a 30-06 or whatever it was, less than a minute, and he is loaded into that SUV. He is loaded into that SUV with 5 other people. This will be important, so remember that. And according to Brian Harpole and others on that day, they took side streets to get to the hospital, but they were going 60, 80, 100 plus miles per hour. They were not stopping for red lights or stop signs. They were booking it. So less than 4 miles going, I don't know, on average, maybe 80 miles per hour. You're going to get there pretty damn quickly. Now, if their retelling is to be believed, you might have got Charlie to the hospital in under 4 minutes, but I'll be conservative and say maybe it was 6, maybe it was 8. Let's push it all the way up to 9 minutes. So it took you a minute to get him from the stage where he was attacked to the vehicle, and then it took you 9 minutes to get him to the hospital. We're talking a window of only 10 minutes. Only 10 minutes. That's a very key fact, and this is why it matters.
Nobody from TPUSA called 911. Let's just review quickly, shall we? Mikey McCoy called his wife Elizabeth. Then he called Erica. Then he called his father Rob. Then he took a call from his brother Danny. Blake Neff called his mom. Terrell Farnsworth called his team back at Visual Impulse headquarters in Arizona. Frank Turek was in the SUV with Charlie with his phone in his back pocket, allegedly stuck on FaceTime. Rick Cutler was in the SUV with one hand cradling Charlie's head and the other hand holding on to Brian Harpole so that he wouldn't fly out of the door while the car was careening at high speeds. Brian Harpole, of course, had dropped his phone back at the murder scene. Justin, the driver, was driving at 100 miles an hour, cutting traffic, blowing through stoplights. And then, of course, Dan Flood was in the passenger seat, barking out orders and directions to the driver, Justin, to get him to the hospital with his navigation called up on his phone. So nobody was available to call 911. But we are going to hear that Brian Harpole said somebody did call 911. But I've obtained all the 911 calls from that day from Utah County. And nobody in that SUV called 911, and nobody from TPUSA called 911.
No one in that SUV called 911. They had their protectee. This is literally their job, is to keep this man alive. And they didn't call 911. And to the best of my knowledge, they also did not call, at least none of them have reported that they did not call the hospital to give them advance notice that they have a victim of a gunshot wound to the neck that is going to need emergency care. I mean, I'm not going to pull up the footage of Charlie because we've all seen it plenty of times, too many times. But anybody that's seen that knows that that man needs immediate intensive care right away. Surgeons, doctors, highest level, they need to be ready to go. If you're a hired professional, high-level security team for a protectee as high level as Charlie Kirk, do you think that it might be appropriate to notify the hospital that you're bringing in your protectee to make sure that you can at least have a shot at saving his life? No, nobody does. Nobody did. But they did convey, according to Ben Shapiro from Charlie Kirk's security team, in the SUV to Ben Shapiro's security team updates about his condition. Do you think that that should take priority over, I don't know, calling 911 or calling the hospital or calling Erica Kirk or, I don't know, anybody else? In what world is Ben Shapiro of such importance that you would have time in a 8 to 10 minute window when your protectee is actively bleeding out to contact Ben Shapiro on the other side of the country and Tim Pool on the other side of the country? Why in God's name would you have done that before you even talked to his wife? And the answer, ladies and gentlemen, in a sane world is you don't. You would not be contacting Tim Pool and Ben Shapiro in the 8 to 10 minute aftermath when you were driving over 100 miles per hour through side streets, blasting through red lights and stop signs, and you haven't even spoken to the victim's wife. You haven't called the hospital. You haven't called 911, but you are relaying real-time updates about the condition of your bleeding protectee to Ben fucking Shapiro. No way.
Great podcast. Clint is tight.